Well, I finally made it back to the river after moving last month. I hadn't actually been to the river for I think about a couple of weeks before I actually moved, and today was the day. Got some coverage for Atlas and for Lucy, my partner Amy's tripod being. She's been staying with me while Amy's been out of town. And this is the beautiful Conejos River. Yeah, really just spectacular. It's such a beautiful day, total 5D day today. It's pretty windy, which is creating issues for the fishing. So this might be another one of these days where, the real point of this is that we just get to come out here and enjoy all of this. So yeah, here maybe I'll face the other way so that you get a really cool background. Yeah, wow, oops. Hopefully that doesn't wreck the audio. I just unplugged my headset on accident. Yeah, so I'm leaving this coming weekend, Saturday on the 4th of July of all days. Flying back to South Africa. Haven't been to South Africa in over 2 years. It's been 2.5 years. And it's going to be an interesting visit. I have a couple of close friends that are going on the retreat in order to go through the cleanse experience in South Africa. And that's going to be really great. But it's kind of it's a bittersweet moment for sure, because my people that are in South Africa, my dear sisters Rhoda and Zelkia, whom have been my mentors since 2018 as it relates to the cleanse, what I call the cleanse process, the grand emergence cleanse and awakening, where you go through a 7-day process of purifying and cleansing your body and your spirit and your heart and your mind, and you activate your consciousness and heal things within your body through the use of these African plant medicines. In particular, the Iboga, the grandfather, grandmother, grand everything teacher, plant medicine, miraculous healing and awakening facilitator. And so that's going to be really amazing. But my two dear sisters that have been my mentors in that process, Rhoda and Zelkia, in recent time, Rhoda had been really feeling the impact of the weight of her planetary service as she was a self-realized, self-awakened being in constant service to humanity and to this world. And it had been getting more and more difficult for her energetically, which is why, I've talked about, like in my newsletter and whatnot, about how she was going to be retiring. A couple of weeks ago, she made the decision that it was time for her to exit the stellar gateways and consciously leave her physical body and return home into the higher dimensional realms from where we all come from. And I was able to speak with her prior to this, and then which was really wonderful, and gave her my full support and blessings and love and gratitude and limitless gratitude that I have for her and the impact of my life. And then the next day, spoke with Zelkia, and she let me know that Rhoda had crossed over, that she had left her body very peacefully and intentionally at home. And so it's going to be quite the experience, moving over there, as my dear friend and mentor is no longer with us in the physical. And yet I have an absolutely clear sense that I'm going to be seeing her the whole time, because now she's without a form, and the form was what had been limiting her ability to interact with everybody, because the form really, like her body had been really struggling in recent years. And Zelkia, on a number of occasions, was able to bring her back. Like Rhoda had died, and Zelkia was able to bring her back, bring her back into this realm, because the time wasn't quite right yet. And but now the time is right. And so thinking about this and about this upcoming experience, and even what I'd said about that now Rhoda has exited the stellar gateways, it made me think that that might be a good topic to discuss, because the stellar gateways is a concept I was introduced to by Rhoda and Zelkia back in 2022, after COVID, after taking a bit of a break with my work over there. Paused 2020 and 2021, and then in 2022 I was able to get back there and visit. And Zelkia, I believe it was, told me that they had been seeing for the previous little while, maybe a couple of years, that there were these energetic portals that were being reopened in our world, which are called stellar gateways. The stellar gateways are the portal for incarnated consciousness to come into this world and to exit out of this world. It's like a portal that allows your consciousness then to come into a body, into a being born into a baby, and upon the time of the physical body's death, your consciousness would exit through these stellar gateways. And in the movement through those stellar gateways, then you would move through this process of clearing and releasing all of the built up experience of your incarnation, including all the trauma, including the heartbreak, including, the elation, including disappointment, all of these things. Those energies, those experiences, they stay like energy within our field in different ways. And so when you would move through the stellar gateway, you would return to these higher dimensional healing temples, and that are operated by higher dimensional beings in service to consciousness, in service to life. And as you would move through those temples, then you would like strip away all of that energy, all of that built up experience and energy, so that your soul, your being, your consciousness would not have any kind of accumulated energy. And then you could, when the timing were appropriate and you had rested and recovered, you could return to the earth of your choosing. But what had happened with the earth over the last, I think it's been several thousand years, is my sense, is that these stellar gateways were artificially closed. They were hijacked, and what was brought into its place in this world were these artificial grids, like what I call the false light matrix, and these artificial grids, these suppression grids, these reincarnation grids that would block the soul's return through the stellar gateway, and instead would like recycle the soul back into an incarnation, into a willing or able participant and or vessel, for the consciousness. And what happens, like I learned about this years ago in the beginning of my healing work, that there are these things, I call them incarnational contracts. I'm sitting in the shade because the wind has been blowing, and I'm hoping it'll provide some noise reduction. But I am a little bit shaded and sunned. I'll scoot forward a little bit. So these incarnational contracts, what an incarnational contract is it's like an energetic contract. Like when we have like a soul contract with somebody, when you have a soulmate relationship, all these types of things, we can build contracts and we form these energetic agreements among ourselves. And an incarnational contract is like that, but it's very different. It's like an imprint onto your energy field that is related to the frequencies that you carried with you, which were unresolved at the time of your passing, when your body ceased to exist. And so and it's like the nature of the density here in this world that can create this like imprint. The way that I describe it is like, maybe you choose betrayal and abandonment as a learning opportunity and an opportunity for healing, and you come through your life and you have a handful of experiences that are around betrayal and abandonment, which are intended to help you to awaken your consciousness and to heal these things. But what happens, maybe you weren't able to resolve a couple of those situations. Maybe the betrayal that occurred, infidelity in your relationship was such a deep heartbreak that you didn't resolve it at the time of your passing. And so what happens then, because you're not moving back through the stellar gateway and clearing those energies, and you're recycled back into the system, those unresolved experiences like layer up, and you go into that next incarnation with this extra baggage that's not part of like your plan necessarily, but it's like this extra baggage that will magnetize experience towards you. And as you magnetize these experiences towards you, then it's like that energy builds up and builds up. And so, if this kind of thing can build up from like lifetime to lifetime, imagine what the souls in this world, what humanity has faced by having these stellar gateways closed, and having to perhaps live hundreds of incarnations without being able to return home and clear those things. And maybe a lot of that is creates potentially negative impact for us within our lives, and people get caught in like ruts of suffering that are very difficult to get out of. And we see this all the time with people becoming identified with their experience like that. So with these stellar gateways, then in the recent years, these gateways have been reopened. We have been receiving support from the star beings to do this, and we've been moving through, what the so-called galactic current sheet and other cycles of energy that are present right now, that are assisting in the removal of this type of artificial architecture. And as that gets removed, then the beings that are leaving now have the opportunity to be able to exit and return home and clear the energy, clear the distortions and the experiences from their lifetime, and come back into this world if they so choose, instead of being forced back into this world against their soul's will, if you will. So this is an interesting moment, and I've been able to remote view these situations with other friends that had crossed over, as well as recently with Rhoda. I've been able to be provided with some visions and some insight about what goes on in that process. And it's, when I'm able to view it, it's like crystalline higher dimensional temples, temples made out of like light and plasma, and shaped in the most exquisite ways, that defy anything that we're familiar with here in this world. And it's just absolutely breathtaking. And, this is where we come from. We come from these higher realms. And I believe that, when we have someone, I was sharing with Zelkia this morning, we have someone like Rhoda who was able to self-awaken fully, like not just be like, awake and hip to maybe what really is going on, but like fully self-realized and remembered and embodied. When you have a being who's able to do that, just like the great avatars in the East, Ramana, etc. These beings, when they exit consciously, it feels like there's like an arrangement that has occurred here, where the let's say the patterns of energy and the human experience and like, wounding or trauma that we collectively experience, when you're able to consciously move through and release those energies out of your field, and you are transmuting these things in planetary service, clearing these energies from the world for other people, like on behalf of other humans, without their knowledge. When you're in that level of service and conscious awareness, and then you consciously exit the field, it seems that there's been almost like a sweeping up of energy and distortions, like the energies that she supported people with throughout her experience, and the ways in which that support has impacted all of us, from the divine feminine to being seen as you truly are. All of these gifts that she brought, and it's like, in the conscious leaving of this world, it's almost like it's swept up the distortions that are related to all those things, and I feel like there's I feel the lack of their presence, like in the field and within my life in different ways, and it's just really such a remarkable moment. We are at the very end here of the phase shift. I believe that we are about to move through a moment that is going to be a catalyzing moment that awakens humanity in a way that cannot be revoked, that can't be changed, that can't be hidden, that can't be suppressed, that can't be lied away. There is accountability coming, there is energetic shifts coming that are going to blow this artificial construct out of this reality and out of the universe, really. And what we are achieving on our own, and with the support that we've received, it's like a template, and it's the trigger for initiating a cosmos-wide planetary, or cosmos-wide shift, but in our case it's this planetary shift, but it literally impacts the entire cosmos because of who we truly are as human beings, and as we return to our direct embodied knowledge of our divinity. And that creates a really big ripple, and that ripple is translated through our galaxy, through, obviously through our whole planetary system, through our local area, through the galaxy, and through the universe, the whole cosmos. So we have arrived at that moment, and it's on that energy, on that wave. I'm catching that wave as I head over to South Africa again, to spend time with my dear sis Zelkia, and to facilitate this work, which I'm just so honored and so grateful that I was introduced to it, and that Rhoda helped me to see that it was my divine arrangement to serve this medicine as well for other people. So much gratitude. I wish you all many blessings. This is much longer than I anticipated. But thank you. Luckily, the wind held up. I think the audio is going to actually be good today. All right. Much love to you all. We'll see you soon.